r/askreddit. Parents of Reddit, what is the best weird flex but okay moment you've seen from your child? My son told me he doesn't need school because he already knows the name of 10 dinosaurs. Edit. Whoa. This is an insane amount of comments and upvotes. Thanks for the gold. It's my first one. For anyone who wants to know, my son's favorite dino is the Spinosaurus. Kid's got a valid point. I know over 30 just by playing Ark Survival Evolved and Jurassic Park Builder. I mean, that's why I dropped out. My 7-year-old said I know everything until you ask me a question. Welp. Okay. A master of quantum knowledge, I see. I just played a game in group therapy where you name a band starting with the last letter of the previous band and have 10 seconds till you're out. Example, someone says Nirvana, you say Aerosmith, next person says Hoobastank. I lost and thought of like 5 band names once I wasn't put on the spot. My son started 2nd grade this week. A couple of weeks ago the school sent out postcards with the date and time of the open house and his teacher's name. I asked him if he was excited to be in MRS so and so's class, and he said yes, but he's also worried. I asked what he was worried about and he said, what if she falls in love with me and wants to marry me? I laughed and reassured him that he needs not worry, since she's already married. Damn, the kid's good. Kids' brains are so amusing like that. I remember being 8-9 and super stressed out about one day needing to get married, like lying awake at night worrying. The reason? Well, when you get married you kiss the bride afterwards in front of everyone and I didn't know how. Never did occur to me that if I was getting married that problem would have sorted itself out a long time prior. Our kids. And that son's name? Vili Fualu. When I was an after-school tutor for primary school kids, I excused a boy to the bathroom. He came back telling me he made the biggest poo in the world. He intentionally didn't flush so that I could come look at it. I told him that was great, but it was our time. He said his big poo was art. A regular Pablo Picasso. My kid wanted company in the bathroom the other day. Then he said, I love pooping, with a sigh of contentment. When my son was about 5 we went to visit relatives in the Washington, D.C. area. We were on the metro when my son eyed a very pretty professional young woman. I've got a lot of blocks, he told her. If you come to my room I'll show you. Then he made motorcycle noises for about 10 seconds. You're gonna have your hands full when he starts dating. I saw the Austin Powers movies when I was 5. They very quickly became a favorite, and I emulated Austin for years. I would hit on basically every waitress, babysitter, au pair, nanny, etc. One babysitter said, and I quote, he's like a 40-year-old man in a 7-year-old body. Needless to say, my family is full of stories. I've been laughing at this for like 5 minutes. Your son wins. Damn, I got to try that. A friend of mine had 2 young boys. The older one, maybe 5, was sitting with him and pointed at a white hair and said, what's this, papa? My friend said, oh, it just means I'm getting old, and his son looked at him dead serious, looked at his brother and said, well, I guess it's just us and mom soon. Huh. Kids are fucking ruthless. I was climbing trees with my 6-year-old niece when she asked me, how can you climb trees if you're so old? To which I replied, I'm 27. Then she said in a sympathetic voice, wow, your life is half over. When I was 6 my absent father came back into my life briefly and I paraded him around all of my friends bragging, saying, this is my dad. I bet you thought I didn't have a dad, but I did. He was gone again within a month. Oh meow. Capital F. Kids really want a dad, don't they? My nephew is 4 and thinks he's cooler than everyone else because he can tuck in his shirt by himself. For a 4-year-old, that's impressive. I know some middle schoolers who can't do that. My toddler just threw her dinner on the floor, started clapping, yelled hooray as loudly as her little lungs could possibly allow, then looked right at me holding up her palm for a high five. Now that's a weird flex right there. Not my kid, but a friend of mine was trying to teach his daughter to pick up her toys when she was younger. When she didn't do it one time, he told her he was going to throw away everything that was still on the floor. She picked them up and put them in the trash can for him. My kid did that. It's a damn power move. My son did something similar. When he was being punished, my wife took everything, every toy, out of his room with him screaming and protesting the entire while. When she was done, he had the fucking temerity to say, "You forgot my books." I thought my wife was going to stroke out. Edit. My son was 4 and couldn't read by himself. As they get older, taking books away is a more serious punishment, as it was for me as a child. But at this point, and especially since he was going to bed anyway, he was just being a dick. My 4-year-old does this to me. Told her I was going to throw her toys out if she didn't pick them up, and she responded with, "That's fine mummy, I understand," and then put them in the rubbish herself. My 4-year-old Henry was carrying a tub of Legos down the stairs. It was slightly heavy, but he insisted on carrying it himself. He was struggling, so I was walking slowly with him in case he fell. He says, through a little 4-year-old grunts, "This box is heavy. I have to use Henry powers. This one is cute. You should put it on a t-shirt for him." When my son was 5, a waitress at Applebee's asked him how old he was, to which he exclaimed, "I'm 5 and I pooped today." I think everyone within 4 tables of us was very impressed. My dad took my daughter out to eat once when she was 2, and the server asked if she was ready for ice cream and she said, "No, I have a poop coming." He just said, "Well, more room for ice cream then," which I think was pretty dope for someone being paid basically nothing to work at Applebee's. I am a tutor, and a while back I had a 10-year-old student who said he had just learned the cool kid's way to write a 7. Good for you, little dude. Wait, what's the cool kid's way to write a 7? Edit. So apparently the cool kid's way to write a 7 is with a crossbar like this. 7, but I've only ever seen it written that way by Europeans. My 10-year-old son bragged the other day that his hair looked like Martin Freeman's. What the fuck? The Office, The Hobbit, or Sherlock? My 6-year-old son recently put his foot down, letting me know it was not okay for me to tell him what he could wear or not because he is allowed to have his own fashion. Okay, fine. Shorts, sandals and 1 black sock it is. I contemplated having a button made that said "I dressed myself today" for my children to proudly wear them, not realizing it was mostly so other adults would stop judging me for my kids' fashion choices. Edit. Thanks for the silver. I'm glad my random comment sparked such a lively conversation. I was throwing my nieces in the pool and the 4-year-old grabbed a pool noodle and looked right at me to say, "Today, you're gonna get hurt." That's when you muster up all your uncle strength and throw her in the pool extra hard. You should be worried for her future. You're gonna have a bad time. My 5-year-old talks to all of the animals. They're all her friends. She literally names every creature she sees in a day. See a moth? Oh, that's Stella, my moth friend. A bird? That's Jake, my bird friend. He's on his way to his grandma's. A rattlesnake? Don't kill it, Mom. That's Jenna. She's a nice protector snake. No, she won't go near it. She's smarter than that, just really weird. She's also insists that she's a super kid, with batteries for everything. Doesn't wanna eat anymore. My food battery is full. Doesn't wanna go to bed. My sleep battery is full. And she shows you where these batteries are. One on her leg, another on her neck. I'm starting to wonder if I was abducted. This brought a genuine smile to my face. She sounds amazing, lol. Sassy niece after first day in school. I learned how to count to 11 today. I bet you can't, weird flex, but wait. I indeed cannot count to 11. 11 is a fancy way of saying 110. 11 is still my lucky number. And very common in my mental processes. Katie, you have to eat 3 more green beans before you're excused. No. No more. 3 more. I'm gonna eat 4 more. Oh no, you got me good. My son is good with this. Me. Okay mate. 5 minutes till you have to hop out of the bath. Son. No. 3 minutes. Righto. My son is a freelancer in his spare time, so I often find him in weird places. He's 16 now, but even as a baby, I'd find him on top of the piano, at the top of the closet, etc. He could climb anywhere. Recently, I found him standing in the branches of a tree down the street, staring off into space. I asked what he was doing, and he said, "I'm just hanging out." Okay, man. Whatever works for you. Sounds like your son is actually a cat in disguise. Congrats on your son discovering weed. Spider-Man in the making. At least he's going outside. Not a parent, but when I was little I had a child therapist and I told her very happily and even in a bragging tone that I was only 8 years old and I already had a training bra, and I remember her just looking at me for a while and going, "Okay." Jesus Christ y'all, I was 8 and happy that I got a High School Musical training bra because I felt like a big kid and I like the pretty colors. Yeeshu guys are harsh. UHH very nice A22R2. Now let's get back on topic about therapy. When my son was small he kept a notebook full of tips. Tips like never wear a cowboy suit in Ireland. Never stay at a hotel in the woods. When your parents ask you to do chores, pretend to be asleep and they'll forget. Always be good friends with a cousin. He has 38 first cousins, so no problem there. Always try really sick hard. If you invent something, don't test it out with a live person. Don't pronounce mom like mom, say mum, it'll be cooler. Be scared of the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Make your day better with seafood. Never say you are doing nothing to a parent. Never invite someone sick to your party. Don't use a pencil, sick, on thick and fancy paper. Never fight in a war. Always get the biggest bed. If you have a bad taste in your mouth at the beach you may need mouthwash. Never eat nuts you find in your yard. There's 325 of these tips, and they are all awesome. Can we send you $20 to copy and send them to us? We need to know. I really, from the bottom of my heart, would love to read them all. You should make a post with them and put the link here. Also, if they are all like these, it should go in a book. I'd totally buy that. Twice. Be scared of the middle of the Pacific Ocean. What does he know that we don't know? Not a parent, but I teach swimming lessons. This one 5-year-old first day of lessons was like, "I'm not very good at kicking." So I said, "That's okay. Nobody is perfect at everything." Dead serious, he just goes, "No, I'm perfect at everything. Except kicking." My son, 4 at the time, was, I guess, trying to impress the 6-year-old neighbor girl. He leaned casually on his arm and said, "I have lots of accidents. Pee and poop accidents. I hope for his sake his pickup lines improve." So I heard you're into bad boys. My brother tried to impress the girls next door by telling them he had head lice. I was playing cops and robbers with my son and my niece, both about 3 at the time. They put me in the jail, the sofa, and proceeded to walk out of the room. As she's exiting, my niece turns to me with a deadpan face and goes, "Watch your back." Then just leaves. I would take her advice. It's good jail advice. My 3-year-old said to me the other day, "Mom, I feel, and I don't feel." Like some profound genius. I relate to that so much. While singing to myself, my 2-year-old told me, "Daddy, stop. No singing. You sing wrong. Listen me." My kids do this to me when I stop singing sometimes. Dad. Stop singing makes me feel bad every time. Had an Amber Alert hit my phone one night while my then 6-year was playing a game on it. She asks what that was and I explained it's a message that gets sent out if a kid gets kidnapped. She looks at it again and sees it's for a town over 2 hours from where we live. She then asks me why they sent to if it's so far away. I said because they want everyone to look and find the kid. Wouldn't you want everyone to look if you got kidnapped? They want to find the kid so they don't get killed. She leans over close to my ear and whispers, "I'm very difficult to kill." Didn't see that coming, lol. Good story. I remember being about 6-8 and bragging to multiple strangers about how my older, red-headed and white sister, for context I was a little brown-haired, brown-eyed, brown-skinned child, was my full-blooded sister but had a different last name because I thought it was a cool fun fact about my family. Turns out she was a half-sibling and nobody told me until I was older. Well, it is genetically possible if that makes you feel better. I'm 11 years older than my little brother, and when he was 4 he went around the entire neighborhood and wrote his name on everyone's garage doors in really big letters with a permanent marker. I just said oh no out loud. I can't imagine being the parent apologizing to a whole street. Why was a 4-year-old walking around the neighborhood unsupervised? My daughter had a paper from school that she brought home. On the paper it said if I had $1 million I would, and all the kids had to put their answer. My daughter wrote that she would pop out her eyeballs. When I asked her about it later, she explained how she wanted to pop out her eyeballs and replace them with chocolate eyeballs. My son, 4-5, walked into the kitchen and said to my wife, "Give me my usual, but put it in a real glass." She's like, "What? Your milk?" It was then we realized we had to rein in the iPad in Cursive Monkey Island. Edit. Thanks for the silver. 2% on the rocks, half a twist, and put some English on it. So, my 7-year-old has always been eccentric. I started keeping a log of some things she says in passing on my phone when she was 3, and there are some good ones I feel apply to this thread. Something smells like chocolate and it's coming from the inside of my mouth. Yeah, well, I can read blank spaces. Chickens have chicken in their bodies. Most of these are responses to her older sister bragging about something she did to excel in school. My 5-year-old does that too. Yesterday she announced my teeth are like back scratches for my tongue. I mean, she's not wrong. But I ran around telling everyone I was the most beautiful girl in the world. I even told my mom's friend that Shirley Temple was almost as cute as me. Used up all my confidence at 3. My daughter, age 2, regularly comes up to me and puts the back of her head in my face. "See my hair?" "Yes, honey, I do. It's beautiful." Runs off. When my sister was younger she told her teacher that my dad was a clown. He actually owns an auto body shop, but I guess she thought he was a pretty funny. Apparently the parent-teacher conference was hilarious. "Your daughter tells us you're a clown? What an interesting career." My friend's mom would say gotta fly every morning when she dropped my friend off at daycare. I decided, quite logically, that she was a pilot. Absolutely nothing my parents told me would change my mind. She worked in a print shop. When my daughter was I think 8, we were in the pool throwing a beach ball around. I tossed it to her. She catches it then says to me, "Is that all you've got, old man?" Lol. That's when you fucking spike it as hard as you can at her little face. My little boy is extremely proud of his ability to get the automatic soap foam dispenser to form a shaped form on his hand. He should be proud. That takes a tremendous amount of skill to do. My son was watching me cut down a very small tree, like 6 inches across, very small, and the following occurred. "Son, wow, I've never seen someone cut down a tree that big before." Me, "Well, I mean, you've only seen one person cut down a tree so far, but you've only been alive for 5 years, so give it time." Son, "Excuse me? I've been alive much longer than that." Me, "Oh yeah? How long have you been alive then?" Son, 10,000 years. Me, "You know, I actually don't doubt that. He's a treasure." Plot twist, your son has spent 10,000 years living as blind people, and this is his first reincarnation where he has vision. While babysitting my cousin, she got really close to me and smelled like rotten eggs, so I asked her if she farted and she immediately replied, "No, that's my brief." At least she's self-aware. Your story reminded me of the time my niece had an audible fart and I asked her if she farted and she replied no. "It smells like Froud Up." Sniffs the air a few times. Yeah, someone Froud Up. I am the child here, but when I was maybe 3 or 4, I took a dump that was green, which was quite exciting to me at the time. I went and told my mom, I just had a poop that was green, and she just told me next time make me a blue one. The rare reversed flex. My kid's an arrogant little smart ass, so he has a few. But one that sticks out was when he was 7 years old and trying to explain the concept of the largest known number to a fellow martial arts student. My kid said something about Googleplex, then turned to classmates. Dad said, "That's Google to the Google power, which means Google times Google, since you probably didn't know." It was so hard not to laugh as I explained why that was not an acceptable thing to say. Ha ha ha. I used to tell people that when you go through a puberty your testicles morph together to become one big testicle. Edit. OMG balls. Oh. That's not normal. I should probably go see a doctor. My 10-month-old son hates being changed. Recently he figured out that if he grabs his balls in a death grip with one of his hands, it makes it impossible to get the diaper on him. I die a little inside every time he does this. Well, no grandbabies for you. If you haven't already tried it, warming up the wipes will sometimes stop diaper changing hatred. Just a couple days ago, my 2-year-old son woke up, so I went to change him. I pulled his jammy pants off, then went to undo the diaper, and the whole time he has this look on his face like he's waiting for something. I pull the diaper off the front of him and bodding he's got a boner. He even smiled big and threw his arms up at the moment of reveal, like TADAAAA. When I wasn't appropriately amazed and merely continued with changing him, he pointed at it and said, loudly and forcefully, "That's mine." "Yes, my dear, that is your penis. Congratulations." I flipped my aunt the bird, telling her it was okay because I still had my thumb up and out. Not a parent, but as a kid, I apparently drank vinegar straight. I only drink vinegar on the rocks. I can fit 2 popcorn kernels inside there. His foreskin. He managed to fit 2 popcorn kernels under his foreskin. He was 4 at this time. Was running behind for work today and the young one told me she had to poop. I asked if she could hold it until daycare. 2-minute drive. She said no. She wasn't lying. She had already pooped. As I was asking. It was on the kitchen floor. My son will shit in the shower just to watch me have to clean it up. Plot twist. Son is 24. I was over at my little cousin's house when he was about 10 years old. He was really excited to show me something, but I didn't know what it was. He ran down to the basement where he and his sister had their playroom, along with their dad's old computer. He starts up the computer and opens up Age of Empires 2 and proceeds to show me this incredible empire that he has built. I don't know what I expected his surprise to be, but it definitely wasn't that. It was definitely a weird flex that came out of nowhere, but at the same time the sincere excitement that lit up his eyes as he explained everything to me was probably the happiest I have ever seen him. Obligatory not a parent disclaimer. When I was in kindergarten, one of the boys came up to me and said, "I'm so strong I brush my teeth without water." It's always stuck with me because I was genuinely impressed. I ran around all day sharing the news as if it was some miraculous superpower or something. When my son was potty training, I started letting him do the cleanup, then I'd have to finish. After a bit of this, he figured he was pretty well good to go on his own, and he was very big boy about it. So for the next couple of weeks, he'd do his thing, which always included stripping naked, then come running out to wherever I was, bend over with his cheeks spread, and shout, "Hey, Mom." I wiped my butt all by myself. Look it. My daughter told me she is made out of love, which I have told her before, and that means she is invincible and so I can't hold her hand whilst she walks on the wall, which I have not told her. This one took me a minute. I assume you're referring to some sort of garden wall or something. But I was picturing her defying gravity in the living room, and really, if she can do that, she probably doesn't need her hand held after all. He told me I don't need history classes because I know that Hitler got shot in the balls. He's not my kid, but my nephew. He likes to call my attention and then does a run and jump or spins around. He thinks he's the shit and I let him think that because he's a cute little dude. My 4-year-old son kept peeing on the toilet seat because he wouldn't hold his penis. I told him he had to start holding it and his response was, "I can't hold it because it's too big." My kid, 5M, is obsessed with cars. Lives and breaths motorsport. He's driving his go-kart in the driveway and our neighbors yell over, "Wow. You're amazing, kiddo," and kid yells back, "Dead serious, I know I'm a better driver than most of the grown-ups I know." He's honestly not wrong. My son let out a high-pitched screech while playing a video game. Told him, "Dude, knock it off." A few seconds later I heard him whisper, "It's my battle cry." Tonight my 3-year-old stopped midway up the stairs and turned slowly to me and said, "Mom. Earlier, while you were out, I put on my pants all by myself. I have no idea why he emphasized every word, but then he smirked and turned and kept climbing the stairs. Big day. The kid is really going places.